Hey, y'all, or shall I say, what is going on, world? This is Kevin out here with your Men in Music podcast. As you can tell by the introduction, and by if you're watching this on YouTube, Merritt is nowhere to be found right now. He is currently watching cows and, singing country roads at weddings. So today we have our NBA preview with my guys, Cyrus and Ronald. And this is Ronald's return, a long awaited return back to the podcast after some time. Guys, what's up, y'all?
Man, I ain't gonna lie to you, 2023 has been kicking my ass as a whole. Barely holding up, but we good. If it tells you anything, like 2 weeks ago, I was without running water, I was without my car, and I was without internet for the week. So thankfully that was just a week, but good God, I think it's a good summarization of how the year's been going. But apart from that, we're good. We're healthy. The baby's growing. E2 is kicking ass.
Nice.
But yeah, man, I'm just trying to find energy where I can.
Yes, I feel you.
Same here, man. Same here. 2023's been kicking my butt.
Yeah,
Can you believe that it's like gonna be over in like another 2 months? It just like flies on by.
man, that's how it's been going.
Yes, that is the way life has been. So real quick, we're gonna go ahead and the new format that we've been doing, our team apparel. I will go first, as today is the NBA preview. I had to go dig for it because I had it. I need to go represent a guy who should have been an all-star last year, but was snubbed. I got no. Oh my God. Forget it. That is the wrong jersey. So sorry, everyone. I actually have on. Wow, that's actually really hilarious. That's going to be a clip, maybe. But today's jersey is a great player, great collegiate player. Another great Nick has worn this number, but I am actually wearing Cardiac Kemba Walker, when he was on the Knicks for the one season that he unfortunately was dealt a hard hand. He got outplayed and lost his spot in the lineup. But now he's going to be balling in Europe. So I'm excited to see what he can do over for, I believe it's Barcelona that he's playing for. But
yeah, it's that Euro, it's that big Euro league.
Euro League, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so shout out to Cardiac Kemba. For Nick, I found this jersey on a clearance rack for very, very cheap. And I'm like, I love Kemba. I loved him at UConn. I loved him when he was in the league. And now he's going to go ahead and make some more money in your league. So, Cyrus, what do we have on for our team apparel today? Oh,
I am seeing red, sir. You know what that means? We are a playoff team this year. I'm just hoping that we make it a little bit further than the first round. That's all.
okay. I mean, I like that team that you have there. And then, well, I won't talk about that right now because we got a lot to discuss.
Exactly.
But Ronald, I am loving this jersey that you have on. Can you tell the people what we are rocking?
Absolutely, but real quick, I have to say, because of this was the NBA preview, the jersey that was originally selected was my Marcus Smart jersey, and so wanted to pay respect to my man's there. But I actually genuinely got emotional pulling the jersey off the hanger. I said, you know what, I don't want this energy right now. So I just completely went in a different direction. So I went with the DC United Cherry Blossom kit, and so again, from that
Yes.
first episode we talked about that. Soccer is what pulled me in. So no, I peeped that. Anything Cherry Blossom is going to win me over. So decided to get me a jersey, and I love it.
I love it too. It's fire.
That's a nice jersey. That is a
Super,
nice
super
jersey.
fire. Let's get it. All right, y'all. So we got a little bit of weekly sports update. We got nothing crazy going on. But first, some NFL updates. If you guys saw the games yesterday, we officially have no one that is undefeated as of yesterday. Cyrus, I apologize for the hurt.
It had to
Cyrus,
be the Jets too. It had to be the Jets.
yo, and
That's the funniest thing about it.
and I was there. I was at the game
I seen that. I seen
as
that.
a
I seen that.
spectator. I don't ever get a chance to spectate these games, but my goodness, the Jets know how to be the Jets. I'll admit. So when I was at the Jets game. And for those that don't know, the Jets beat the Eagles 20-14 yesterday. I was heading out. So we knew when the Eagles were on that 5-yard line, the Jets stopped them to third down. Fourth down, they went to bring the field goal. As I'm walking down from our seats, they missed the field goal. So we're slowly making our ways out. The Jets did the Jet thing and, gave the ball back very easily. So we're like, all right, well, we're making the right move because the Jets are probably going to lose this game. As we are on the escalator, all of a sudden we hear this roar. We look at the Jumbotron, and Jalen Hurts throws an interception in which ends up being returned to the 8-yard line on their end. So we're like, oh, wow. So they're actually winning this right now, possibly, maybe. But, then again, you guys got to remember, the Jets are such the Jets. They could easily just fumble it at the 1-yard line. Instead, the Jets gave that ball to Breece Hall, pounded it in for that touchdown. And I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, oh, man, watch the Eagles just, come back. Because I've been through so many Jet games where, they got, 30 seconds left, and the Jets beat the Jets, and just, they'll, end up allowing, a punt return or some sort of thing. No. The Jets stopped the Eagles, and the clock ticked down to 0, and the Jets beat the Eagles. I couldn't believe it. I could not understand how that happened. Out of all teams to beat the Eagles, I will say the Jets were probably not on my short list to do that. But guys, your thoughts on that win, though?
These are my thoughts on the Eagles in general.
Go ahead.
Fraudulent. So I remember going back to the game against the Commanders that I believe went into overtime and how that game played out and ended. I remember messaging Khalif afterwards, no Eagles fan there. My words were fraudulent. And so I am not surprised that the Jets pulled this up out of nowhere win on the Eagles here. I'll be honest with you, I actually didn't watch too much football this past weekend. So mind you, like I said, been without water here. So there's been catching up on laundry and just household things in general. So yesterday was a day of being productive around the house. So I've just been catching highlights. So I actually did not get to see a lot of that action. So your play-by-play was great, Kevin. But fraudulent is the word that comes to mind for me.
Cyrus, go ahead.
My thoughts were that I agree with Ronald. Fraudulent. I mean, listen. I think they've been playing with fire for the last, I'm going to say, 4 games. They've been playing with fire. Other than the first game, I think they've been playing with fire the last couple of games. I don't know. It's just I think it's just the way they lost 2 coordinators. I think that was a big deal. And you got a guy that just doesn't know how to call plays for Jalen Hurts. And I think Hurts is somewhat falling back into what he was when he was in Alabama, and then he had to transfer out. I think it's just a matter of he gets better, 3 steps forward, but I think he takes 2 steps back because he got complacent. And I think that's what happened.
Yeah, I just, the one thing about the Jets that I will give them a lot of credit to is they truly play to their competition. You play against a bad team, the Jets have the possibility of being one of the worst teams in football. You play them against a really good team, you might almost be convinced that they can win a Super Bowl.
Also, weren't they without their corners, both starting corners?
Yeah. Yeah, Sauce is out with a concussion, and the other cornerback was hurt. So the fact that they won like that, I mean, man, I'm just happy that I'm not an actual Jets fan, because I just don't think I could go through the roller coaster of emotions that they have gone through just for the first 6 weeks of the season. Thank God they have a bye week next week, so they can go ahead and relax. But I just don't know how they do it. Just, from everything from Aaron Rodgers going down, and then, being excited for that, and then having that happen, and then, having the opportunity to beat the Chiefs with Taylor Swift in the building, and then, with that loss, and, losing to the Patriots, and then, but still somehow being able to compete with some of these teams. It's crazy. But we gotta be remiss. I know, Cyrus, we went to the Jets first, but, your 49ers, unfortunately lost by missed field goal. But yeah, I will say, there you did guys have some tough breaks. McCaffrey got hurt. I believe Debo went down in the first quarter. I believe even Brock Purdy got a little bit banged up as well. So what's the dealio, dude?
Well, I would tell you right there. Remember we were talking about, I think it was the last time I was on, or last time we talked about football. I said the one thing is you need a number one receiver. You always need a number one receiver because if you just have a group of receivers that are a very good group of receivers, it's very hard to sit there and say, hey, let's just spread it around to everybody. Again, Debo is a nice guy. Debo is a switchblade guy. Debo is not a guy who's going to take the top off. That's why you need number one receiver. The fact is, right now, if they had a number one receiver, with number one receiver with Debo going down and McCaffrey go down, you can still run your plays. You can still run and everything you're supposed to do. That number one receiver now becomes that much more valuable of a target. But you can't do that if you don't have that guy, and that's the problem. But here's the thing: if I'm them right now, Tennessee has a guy that's sitting there that can be a number one receiver and fits perfectly for what they need. He might not want to be there no more after what's going on in Tennessee. I can see he's only been there for a couple of games, but I can see him leaving. I can see him leaving if they put enough out there. I can see him leaving.
I mean, if you're talking about who I'm talking about, Mr. DeAndre Hopkins, he went from 30 points for my fantasy team to a good old 3, which is really upsetting for me.
And they think about it. They run the ball 65% of the time, damn near 70% of the time. I mean, so he's not going to get a ton of looks.
Which I never understand why he even wanted to go there in the first place, because they run through Derrick Henry and they don't have any spectacular quarterback. What, Tannehill and then the guy from Liberty, right? Am I right?
Yep.
Malik Willis.
Yeah, Malik Willis. Like,
and then didn't they pick the Ron? Didn't they pick up the guy from
Levy?
Yeah, from what's the name?
Kentucky, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, I don't know who's throwing that ball, but I don't think I trust them enough to get it to D-Hop enough. So, hey, DeAndre, do your thing. Hold out. Get sent somewhere you want to go. Like, do your thing, because you would help out any of us that have you on your fantasy team, which I made a trade for you. I traded Calvin Ridley and
You sound bitter, Kev.
And a 6th round pick and got you back in an 11th for next year. So we need to make sure we get these fantasy points. But
hey, Rod, he sounds kind of bitter, doesn't he?
A little bit, but then again, like, I'm on the other end here where I have Calvin Ridley on my roster. I'm like, why haven't I traded you away myself here? And so, I feel his pain just a little bit there. But
yes.
I think it was a little bad bet because I'm 100% with you, Kevin. The signing never made sense. So we'll leave it at that. Yeah. Just it's Tennessee. So,
and I think he had a chance. Remember, he had a chance to go to just about anybody. Like
anywhere.
Everybody was giving him. The only places that wasn't giving him a look was Philly, Las Vegas. And there was one other team that just wasn't going to give him a look at all because they already had number one receiver. The Rams, because they had Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, they don't.
Those are 3 teams that we're not giving. Everybody else was like, "Hey, come on here, come on in, come in." He was like, "Nah, I want to go to Tennessee."
Yeah, horrible. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit of fantasy too, because if Andrew and Merritt want a 2-part episode for Cliffhanger, we're gonna give them that content as much as we can. But next up on my agenda, big shout out to the New York Liberty. They went and battled and got a game 3 win, a must win, because if they didn't, then the series would have been over against the Las Vegas Aces yesterday. Shout out to our number 1 fan, Mark. He was actually in attendance at the Liberty game and was able to see them win that. I hope the Liberty can come back and force a game 5. The key, I think, for the Liberty, they really need to make sure that everyone's hitting their shots, because I just think, in my personal opinion, the size up front for the Aces is what is the determining factor for them. When you look at somebody like Asia Wilson, who is probably the best player in the WNBA, right now. Even though I love Stewie, she got MVP. I mean, you could have honestly made a case for A'ja Wilson to win MVP this year again. She's one of the top players in the league. You look at just that lineup of Chelsea Gray, of Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young. That's 3 number 1 overall picks on your roster right there. And with the size that they have on the bench, I know the Aces don't have as much depth, especially with Candace Parker out right now. But I just feel like that's a big thing, that the difference between the Liberty and the Aces right now. I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to tune in or have seen a little bit of them play. If you had any thoughts,
I
Cyrus.
did. I watched a little bit of both games of both the 2 and 3. I mean, listen, I think from a basketball standpoint, I think the Aces, like you said, they are big. They got a big front line, and Kelsey and Chelsea can really score. So it really alleviates a lot of the stuff off of Asia's plate to have to worry about doing the scoring. Like, she gets it. If you notice, they run plays for her, but she doesn't really get her stuff off the plays. It's mainly off of like the reactions of what everybody else does.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of them trying to figure it. And what worked out in game 3 for them, what worked out game 3 for the Liberty was this. They were the aggressor, they attacked, and then they made them make a decision. And then they said, okay, you're going to live with either let me take a wide open shot, or get in the drive into the lane, which is exactly how basketball is supposed to be played. Make them choose what they want to give you. If they're going to give you a wide open shot and that's your thing, knock it down. And that's exactly what happened in game 3. So,
Ronald, anything?
No, man, I just love that Plum just is not afraid to like let that thing go, and she's been
yeah.
going through a little 3-point slump where she had 7 attempts and only 1 on the bucket there, one of their losses, but has not kept her from just letting that thing go. And more recently, I think she like made 10 3-point attempts and like shot 50% from the 3 there. So when you talk about hitters there, I've always liked how Plum has played, and so I think for the Aces, that's where it's at. Also, something to acknowledge, just low key there, something you wouldn't have, I guess, really think about recently, but just a team that had Liz Cambage, who was supposed to be a big player for them, and so a lot of that drama with her that never kept around this season, but never kept them from making it all the way here. So just talking to the pool of talent on the Aces there, and so got to give them a shout out for that in general.
Yeah, the Aces, they really put together a hell of a super team. And Liberty, they came back and put one together of their own. And yeah, I'm excited to see what else can happen. I would love to see them go force a game 5. If it goes to game 5, then I think it's anybody's game. It's just, it's whoever's gonna make the shots, whoever's gonna, force the turnovers more. I think the rebounding is gonna be really big in this series. But I mean, I'm, fingers crossed that the Liberty can pull it off, because the city of New York would be able to celebrate a real championship team for the first time in about like how many years? Hold on. Let me do the math.
God, that's horrible. Oh my god.
Self-deprecation, man.
So the last celebration was
fellas,
2009 of the Yankees. So that's 14 years that the city of New York has not had anything fun to celebrate, because both football teams have been absolutely an abomination. The quote-unquote New York teams have been an up and down roller coaster of emotion. The hockey teams, nobody really cares about hockey, to be truly honest. The Red Bulls, nobody cares about Harrison, New Jersey. And, well, baseball, the Yankees continue to spend money and let down, and the Mets continue to just waste money. So, yeah, that's what you got. Go ahead, Cyrus. You were saying before.
I wasn't going to say anything. All I was going to say is that, if the Liberty win, isn't that a shame that the women's team won before the men's team?
No, it's not.
And the women's team hasn't even been around 15 years yet. My God, actually, no, it's been more 15. Actually,
no,
20 years.
It's 20 years, man.
Yeah, over 20 years. But
20
the Knicks have
been
around
though.
60 years. They stay.
Hey, honestly, if the Liberty won, Sabrina, you would crown her as the Queen of New York. Like everyone would bow down to the Liberty, and they'll fill up that Barclays Center, and women's basketball in New York City will be absolutely thriving. So that's fingers crossed it can happen. But hey, this year it's the first year that they're all together. So even if we don't win it, I think it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's definitely
Because, for instance, I don't know if you guys know, so at Liberty games, they only open the lower bowl for Liberty games. Now, because they made it so far, they were forced because of ticket demand, they had to open up the upper bowl. And they were filling them the upper bowl for the bigger games. So now it's like, hey, you guys are able to fill that. You guys are wanting demanding more seats. Now you guys just got to keep coming. So I think if the Liberty keep winning, the fans will keep coming, and sky's the limit there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes. And my last little nod was I found this super, super interesting. It came up on my Bleacher Report because I was trying to find another topic to talk about because, no offense, guys, I don't know much about baseball. So we're going to be talking about that.
Yeah, you're fine with me.
But really, really cool. Jace Richardson, son of Jason Richardson, who used to play for the Warriors, the Suns, former dunk champ. His son committed to Michigan State, the same alma mater as Jason Richardson today, which is super, super cool. He committed over the weekend, and now they're going to be fun little duo, father-son duo to play at Michigan State. So shout out to Spartans, shout out to Jace. Congrats on picking your college, and I can only imagine your NIL deals are probably out the wazoo. So we'll take it from there real quick. I didn't add it on here, but Merritt wants the content. So fantasy, what's an update on everybody's fantasy teams? How are we doing? Ronald, I know this is a welcome back after a hiatus from fantasy. So it's great to have you back.
Yeah, nah, man. Yeah, like you already know, we had like a commissioner of our league for the longest time, pandemic, and then it just kind of gave people a reason to separate, and we never brought it back. So after 3 years back in fantasy for the first time, right now started off 4-0, feeling good, feeling great. Been 0-2 the last two, and so my team got exposed here. I'm not putting up big points compared to some of the other big dogs, and I came across one of them. Also, what set it off was my first loss came to the 0-4 team, and so it was just, I feel like that was an omen right there. But right now I'm feeling the Christian McCaffrey hurt, so I'm genuinely concerned how that's going to play out. Calvin really has been a significant disappointment.
Yeah.
They go the streaming quarterback route, and that has been more rough driving as of late here. Because I never want to pay up for a quarterback, which is always my mistake. But I got to choose between Waller and Laporta. Both of them hurt. Like just figuring out what's gonna happen.
Oh my
Tight
goodness.
end's never fun. But I don't have that strong depth. I don't got big hitters here, so I'm concerned. I'm concerned once I start going against the higher scoring teams here, what's gonna happen? Because right now, just not getting points where I need. So I gave myself a little cushion to start, but we'll see how long that lasts me. Because fucking Calvin Ridley. God.
Yeah, I hear you. Cyrus, what about you? Do you have any fantasy leagues that you're in right now? How you doing?
I have excommunicated myself from the fantasy league for at least the season.
Wow.
Just because I used to run like 2 or 3, and every time that happened, it was like life gets in the way. Kids got this, kids got that. I'm sitting there trying to fumble my phone half the time, figure out. And then the one league, the one person didn't want to have half the league wanted to have like a live draft, the other half wanted to sit at home. I'm like, yeah, it's like I can't do this. Like I just pick one so we can go. If we're gonna go sit at a bar and do it, let's do that.
Yeah.
And then, so the best part about this was this, right? So last year I did it, and we did a half and half. So these jokers go, well, we're just going to do it on our phone. So what was the point of us going to the bar if you were going to do it on your phone? Well, like,
yeah, that's stupid as hell.
Right. So like so if you go to the bar, you write it down, and the whole point of doing it, if you do it live, is to see somebody fumble and fuck up, so you can take the player, so you can take the player, because now you can see where he's going at. I can't see what you're doing by the way you're doing it. You can have it set up on automatic, and you have it randomly pick the guy that's there.
Yeah,
So I'm
that's
like,
no fun. It's no fun.
yeah,
I feel
it's
you.
no fun. So I'm like, I said I'm not gonna do it. I'm like, yeah. I was like, maybe we'll do a family one or something like that, somewhere down the line. But and at this point, I'm like, I'm not. I got to find a good group of guys that understands. Like, we pick one, we do it this way, and then we just move on. Like, I'm fine with that.
I respect that. So for me, guys, if you don't know, I'm in 5 leagues, a career high right now. So my one league, that's an $80 buy-in. So I'm actually on the verge of losing almost every week except for my guillotine league. So every team is down right now. But so there's my $80 league. That's with my buddy from my old CrossFit gym. I'm currently just getting walloped by one of the top teams right now. Then I have my like close friend group of friends, Ronald, if you know Michelle, our group of friends. Merritt is also in this league, and Merritt is absolutely disgustingly killing me right now after he lost 3 in a row. So that's a bummer. And I'm also an added person in Merritt's fantasy league with his group of friends, in which Merritt is also, to emphasize, he's 0-5 in this league. And I'm also getting crushed by another person on this team. And then I just recently in my old college roommates league, which was our keeper league, that was like a big money buy-in. All my players are just on the downward slope. So right now, it's a tough swing. Right now, I have Tony Pollard in which I traded for like some top picks for next year's draft to get him. So unless he gets like 40 points tonight, I don't think I have a shot at winning this game. So I'm just kind of chalking up as a over 4 for all leagues. But right now, I'm currently focusing on our guillotine league. So I don't know if you guys have heard me talk about this one. So basically, a guillotine league is pretty much, you standard fantasy draft. Everyone kind of faces each other, and pretty much whoever scores the lowest that week, they are eliminated from the competition, and their team goes up for auction, so you can grab their players. So I've made it through 6 weeks so far. I am currently in the lifeline section of hopefully advancing this week. But I know I'm going to need to pay some big bucks for whoever is left because I'm getting killed by all these heavy hitters. And it looks, by the looking of the scores right now, I could be out within the next 2 weeks. So right now, I'm hoping I can hold strong. I need to save up for like a good like wide receiver because I have Jerry Judy, of which I paid a little bit higher than I should have for him. And as Steven Smith says, why go and watch a half-ass receiver on TV who, is just okay. And he's right. So I need to get somebody to replace him. So fingers crossed that I can go ahead and do that. But yeah, that's what we got. So
wait. But before you go, the best part about that whole situation, right? He even said, I'm sorry for telling you this on the podcast. I was just being honest about you and other receivers like you.
Yep.
Why are you getting upset? If you know that you're better, show me that you're better. Seriously, that didn't work out for you. And now you're on the trading block for running your mouth. And you're probably going to go to whomever, and you're probably going to have you're probably going to be the Z receiver, the slot guy, or the 4th receiver on the team. Okay, just live with it for now. You're probably not going to get your money again. See you in the XFL, Mr. Judy. Bye-bye.
And might I add how nonchalant Steve Smith was when talking about it? Like, we don't get mad. We're bigger than that. And everybody knows that I'm older now and I'm bigger than that. But nobody really cares about looking at a sorry wide receiver who's just okay. And if teams come to me and ask, should I trade for this player? I will tell him no, because he cannot take any constructive criticism, because he is just a sorry, okay receiver. And we don't have time for that. I was like, wow, That was
That's vintage Steve Smith, though.
yeah,
That's effing great. The growth, but the pettiness. The pettiness was my favorite part in it all. Just that last portion of it.
yeah,
So you
I'm just
man.
trying to figure. I'm just trying to figure out why. I mean, if you're and I'll say this, then we can end this, right? But if you are a wide receiver and you know that you are not living up to your standard, why would you not take something from a guy who has, what is he like, eighth, 10th, or like like top 15 in yards and receiving or something like that in NFL history or something like that?
Yeah.
Right? The guy has been there. He's done it. He's been big time. Like what? I mean, what happens if Jerry Rice was to say something to you like that? You're gonna sit there and tell him, "Oh, you're blasphemous for saying it." No, the guy's the goat. He's telling you, you suck. You need to get your shit together. Ain't no, ain't no that he's not telling you that he's not doing it just to kick rocks. He's telling you it's because you suck.
Yep.
And you're being like you stuck. And this is wrong. That's wrong with these players now. They all think the shit don't stick and they just keep walking around.
That's true. All right, so now to get on to some WVU news. Oh boy. Oh gosh, this WVU news. The Houston game. The Houston game. That had to be the most biggest abomination and such a WVU game that I've ever seen in my life. For those that didn't get a chance to follow, West Virginia was down 11 to this Houston team in the fourth quarter. 7 minutes left. They scored a touchdown. We got a 2-point conversion. We're now down by 3. They get a stop. They have about a minute and a half remaining on the clock. Garrett Green, stud, throws the ball to a previously walk-on Hudson Clement, in which he takes it 50 yards to touchdown. West Virginia comes back from being down 11 with 50 seconds left. Garrett Green somehow goes ahead and gets an unsportsmanlike penalty for celebrating with his helmet off on his own bench, which I didn't know that was even possible. So that brings the kick up a couple yards. WU kicks off. Houston takes it to the 40. Pass here, pass there. Oh, we're almost there. 7 seconds left on the clock. Houston's quarterback throws that motherfucker up in the air. And we're thinking, oh, it's good. Oh, we're just going to bat it down. All 4 WVU defenders are in front of the ball, goes over all their heads. And where does it land? It tips into a Houston player's hand. He taps it up. And in the back of the end zone is a Houston wide receiver to catch the winning Hail Mary touchdown. West Virginia loses 42-39 on a Hail Mary in which we could have easily been 5-1 right now. But we have to go ahead and talk about, well, at least I have to. Merritt doesn't have to. He didn't want to comment on this because it's too hard for him. I agree. It's hard for me too. But, it's a lot to absorb because I will say this. If you guys were to watch this game, number one, first things first, any sort of broadcast on any of the Fox sports networks are really difficult to go through because the announcers are terrible. Honestly, they might as well put us on there, to be truly honest. We could have done a better job.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Because it's tough. Sometimes I don't even know who found these people, because if y'all found them out the street, how about you come listen to us, throw the 3 of us on there, we would be way more entertaining. But again, West Virginia, they take that loss. It was the most West Virginia thing I've ever seen in my life. Ronald, we've been alumni. We've seen some really West Virginia type shit in our years. But this one had to take the cake because not only did it come to our old head coach, this Houston team sucks, guys. Cyrus, you would throw for 500 yards on this Houston team. Ronald, you would have ran for 200 plus yards. I would have been star punt return or fullback. This Houston team sucks. And the fact that they won the way they did is horrible. I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to see any of the highlights. I know it broke my heart. Go ahead.
I tell you, you know what's bad when it makes it on what's the name's Bad Beats. It made it on the West Scott Van Pelt's Bad Beats. That game was not supposed to go that way. Whoever made it, he was like, whoever made a bet, you got screwed.
Yep. Ronald, what about you?
Question. Well, oh man, it's
Go
just
ahead. Go ahead.
no. But I'm sorry. It's just disgusting in general. But let me ask you, Kevin, how they
Go ahead.
won, how they pulled out the victory there. How good would you feel about the 5-1 record? And in all honesty, and like the way the season's been going and the matchups, how good would you feel about that 5-1?
I will say this. My thoughts on the team probably would have been like a lot more positive. So, like on the positivity scale, if I'm going rating from 1 to 100, right now I'm at like a 55. Because it's just, I will say, truth be told, Cyrus, as an outsider, you could probably say this. West Virginia football for the last couple of years has been rather unexciting.
Yes.
It's boring. Like when you think of us, like if you for anybody that's not an alum, like you think of our school as high powered offense, super fast guys, high scoring. But right now we are just like
The last
running.
thing I think of
But
when I think of Dove V football is Geno Smith. And that and
not
that's and
bad.
that and that's been a long time. Like he's been in the league a hot minute. I mean, so
Yeah, you're
it's
you're you're
it's
talking you're talking 10 years.
yeah, it's been oof.
I mean, we during that time frame, we've had some really great people come through. You're talking guys like Will Greer came through, Kevin White, wide receiver wise. I mean, you
Oh
can't forget
yeah,
about like guys like probably the greatest college YouTube highlight film ever made in Tavon Austin's highlight tape
right.
for senior year. But like the one thing I would be able to accept Ronald with this 5-1 record is that I'd be able to accept that they have some sort of identity. Our identity would be we're gonna grind out these teams. We may not be able to score as many points as we'd want to, but we're gonna make them tough to score. We're gonna make it hard for them when it comes to defense. And then offensively, we're gonna run it down your throat as much as possible with one of the best offensive lines that they've ever had in a long time. And with that 6'2" beast they have in the backfield named CJ Donaldson. And then eventually, with Garrett Green, he's be able to utilize his athleticism. With that 5-1, I'd be able to accept like, hey, if that's the identity of that this team needs to be this season in order to win games, cool. Because number one, as an alum, I would love to see our school back in bowl season because I love college bowl season. I don't even care if it's the freaking Beef Brady Bowl. Like, I want to see our team back playing in the middle of December. Like, you know, like I'll take any bowl game, Dollar General Bowl, the Circuit City Bowl. There's apparently a Cheez-It Bowl now. Like I would take them being in a bowl game.
Would you be okay with the Duke's Mayo Bowl?
The what?
The Duke's Mayo Bowl? You ever heard of that one?
I mean, if we get to a bowl game, yeah, I'm cool with it. Like we're used. Like think about when you and I were in school, we were expected. We're going bowl season. We expected to be in postseason playing for something so that our fan base could be excited about. When was the last time we could be like, oh yeah, let's go. We're gonna watch them in the bowl game. Cool. Never. Like at least the last bowl win we had was in 20. We won the Liberty AutoZone with like the Stills brothers. But like, that was okay. Maybe Ronald, you might be able to see it what our last bowl win was. But take that previously. We've had a couple sprinkles here and there, and then you have our infamous Orange Bowl, like our senior year, where we won 70-33 against Clemson. But like I think it was just a matter. I just want to see our team as a selfish alum to be great again and just be somewhat relevant.
And so I will say the last bowl game before that was 2018, and that was the Camping World Bowl. I know this because of the stadium that's up there in Orlando, which was held. And I remember going to the, I think it was the Russell Athletic Bowl game against Miami in that same stadium there. But with that, I just think even if they made it to a bowl game, Kevin, is it like even exciting to watch that game
They
and to
said
watch
they
them
they
grind
said
it
they made
out?
it to the last bowl game was 2020, the AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
Yeah, that's the one that you had brought up there. And so,
Yeah.
do you like as an
You know,
alum? Sure, I want to see them in a bowl game, but it is just not exciting to watch. They don't have the same recruiting pipeline that brought them to Noel Devines, the Tavon Austins of the world,
I
and so
know.
that gave us that excitement every single season there. So I and that really showed itself too, right? With the you think about the season opener against Penn State there, and just clearly we're not anywhere near where we would want to be there, and so
Which, if
it's
you think about it, a couple years ago when we scheduled that game, the prediction was it's like, oh yeah, West Virginia can compete with Penn State, yeah. But now we're a complete afterthought. It's like we're like Vanderbilt in the SEC. Like nobody knows about what the
and I
hell
think
they
that
do over there.
reinforces WW doesn't get strong recruiting. They get players here and there that come in, and they're like a lot of local talent with the pipeline, but they don't really get go outside those big states. So you got the Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. They have a bit of a Florida pipeline, not as strong as of late, and so it's just
So they have been they're grading wise, recruiting wise, they've been having great recruits. It is, but one of the, of course, the unfortunate things that we're running into nowadays is the infamous NIL, in which people are using us as a stepping stone to go elsewhere, which is not what we're used to. We're normally the place where they're coming to. So that adjustment is also big as well. And it's I think we're starting to feel it now because this whole generation of kids, it's like, oh, I'm second string. Screw that. I'm gonna go they're gonna get my money somewhere else, and I'm gonna go play somewhere else and get guaranteed playing time. It's a whole catch-22, and that's the problem I
So
think
I
with
just
the
want to I
fan.
just want to take a moment here and give a little shout out to the old head group here, because both you and Cyrus at some point have made bitter comments about the younger generation, and so I want you to know that's the age where you're at, you're not alone. I am part of that group. I just haven't slipped up yet, but I just want to call that out. I think that's funny. You're old. You're old.
We are old.
You know what? I live with that, man. But the reason I feel that way is only because the product, you can't put bad product out and bitch and complain about it. That's the problem. Like if you were putting a good product out and then you could bitch and complain, then yeah, fine. I go right along with you. But you can't put a bad product out and then bitch about it. That's the part that baffles me. Like it just can't.
Just immaturity. I really chalk it up to immaturity. And then when you're on a team like the Denver Broncos, I imagine you can't feel good. And with the athletes, kind of hard these days to blur the lines when it comes to media and their opinions. And so, just if anything comes out of media, just an immediate no, done here. And so, a little oversensitivity. I think a little bit of that too here. So I'll just leave it at that. But no, you're not wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all. Just for the record, but you're old. You too, Kevin.
I know,
My
seriously, it's
my 40
crazy.
my 45-year-old body tells me that I'm not growing this.
All right, so now that I went on like a half-hour rant of WVU football, so let's go to basketball. There's not too much news about basketball, but one thing that did happen this weekend is they had a secret scrimmage against the Vanderbilt team. And a couple of different notes. Seth Wilson, great 3-point shooter. If he continued to shoot that ball, he'll definitely make a place for him in the rotation. Our big guys of Jesse Edwards and Akuka Cook, they can be something special as a dominant force down low. And with Kerr Kriisa, I think we can get used to him throwing lobs to these big guys and having them throw it down, which is really awesome. I'm really loving the length on this team. And then I'm trying to think who is the other guy that I saw that was really, really playing well. I forgot his name. He transferred from St. John's. I think his name is Slazinski. That's his last name. But he was also playing really well in that scrimmage. I did hear that the game that they played against Vanderbilt did go to OT, and unfortunately, they did lose the game in OT. But just at least be able to watch some of the highlights. A lot more different of a team that we've seen in the past. A lot longer that we've seen from recent years. And I think I'm excited about this transfer class. I think so. One person that did not play in this secret scrimmage was Raekwon Battle, who is still waiting his eligibility for transferring. Fingers crossed that he can get that waiver so he can play next year. Because if not, then he would have to sit out another season. So fingers crossed there. And any thoughts on WV basketball, guys?
So I actually depend on you, Kevin, to get me up to date with college basketball in general, and so especially with WVU ball, because Corey's my other friend here who likes to keep me up to that. And
Shout out to Corey.
And so, but like he'd come on here to talk WVU basketball. So I'm actually a little bit out of the loop on here with some of the players you had mentioned.
Yeah, so Jesse Edwards, he was rated top transfer for centers coming from Syracuse. You got a Cook, top one of the top transfer guys who was originally at UConn, transferred to Georgetown, and now he's in his final year, coming to us as a graduate senior, coming from Georgetown to us. And Kirk Risa, top guard transfer from the University of Arizona. They each Kirk Risa re-entered himself into the transfer portal when Bob Huggins got into all his trouble, and then he ended up committing back to the team, which was really awesome. So, and Seth Wilson has been on the team for a while, so hopefully, we can keep this going and hopefully have something work. This is so fun fact that you guys know, we don't have any freshmen on this team this year. So there's no freshmen on this team. It was all transfers, which is something very interesting that I did not expect us to do. So we'll see what happens.
No, I think the team itself, just watching a couple of clips here and there of some stuff, I think the team itself is just with the new outlook as far as the coaching staff, you'll get a better, more. I'm not going to say that Bob was behind antiquated as far as like the offense and defense, but
you're gonna get more modern of a game.
Modern of a game, probably a little more up tempo stuff. Offensively, you probably get a lot more PNRs, a lot of dribble handoff stuff that they run more in the pros now, just to get them more acclimated, because that's what the kids are used to running now. You probably won't get the standard, Bob Huggins, get the ball in the post, throw it in the post, let's work around. It's going to be more flash high, screen down. Guy comes flash in. If he can get it in the post, he'll get a couple buckets here and there. Hopefully, through the season they'll start to work on that. But that's probably what you get to see. I mean, and with everybody that you have, you should be fine. I mean, come tournament time is when you're really paid off, because I think if you get everybody that can really know how to play, you might get past the first weekend. Maybe first weekend.
Yeah. So that's what we got there for WV basketball. I don't know, Ronald, if you ever heard of the new coaching staff. So you have a really exciting coaching staff for WV right now. So assistant coaches with interim coach Josh Eiler. You have the one and only Deshaun Butler as assistant coach. You have DeMar Johnson, former NBA lottery pick of the Atlanta Hawks, on that as an assistant coach. You have Jordan McCabe, former WVU player who transferred to UNLV that recently just graduated, as an assistant coach. And when we were freshmen, senior at the time, Alex Ruoff is an assistant coach. So if you think about their staff, it's a lot more modern, and like the kids growing up now be able to relate to them a little bit more, because they all played in the old gold and blue, and they know what it means to have that West Virginia on their chest. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a good time.
That's a little flashback with the last name there and Alex, and so we'll say from the time that it was announced, excited about the new era in WVU basketball here as we move on here from Huggies. But shit. All right, let's go.
Yeah. So Andrew, if you want to go ahead and make this a part 1 of the episode, you can, because I'm pretty sure we've been going for almost an hour. So you can do that if you want.
Nah,
but
it's been an hour.
All right, it's good times. But now it is time for why we are here. We are here for the NBA preview. This is why I got my experts on. We got Cyrus and Ronald out here for this. It has been so exciting to have both of you on here, because I think the last time I had the both of you on here, was it the 50th anniversary draft of players?
It was.
Yeah. So this is going to be a good one. So first thing I wanted to start at was, at first glance, what is anything that excites you about the NBA season starting? We'll go with you, Ronald, first.
And so, at first glance, I'm actually going to move away from the obvious because I can go on with Boston here up front. But at first glance, I'm excited for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And so,
Mm,
super young team that showed a lot of fight and a lot of promise last season has been racking up nothing but assets. And so getting some Chet Holmgren there who's going to be playing again, Shai who took it to another level. And so I am excited to see what this group does, especially after last season ending kind of like in the middle of the road there, 16th in offensive rankings, 13th in defense. And so what's the turn that you take this season? Because
mm.
I'm genuinely excited for it. I love the new energy there. I love the youth and the players. And so I love the long guards. I love big guards. And so I'm always a fan with that. So what does the Oklahoma City Thunder look like? How do they start? What do they look like throughout the season?
I
That's one
love
thing
it.
I'm excited for.
Love it. Cyrus, what about you, sir?
I'm actually wanting to see how the Memphis Grizzlies rebound from all of what they've gone through. That's my big. I just want to see how they rebound at this point. I mean, you got rid of one headache that you had in Dylan Brooks. You brought on some veteran leadership, and you basically built a veteran team. And in the last couple of years, you've made a lot of growth as far as getting number one seeds and you know getting to the point where you can get maybe to the conference finals and stuff like that in a very talented West. So I'm just waiting to see what happens. We'll see how they react on what the off season and all the changes that they made.
I love it. So for me, you guys mentioned specific teams and what they're about to be doing at first glance. Um, when I think about it and I look at it overall, one thing that I actually think I'm very interesting to see how it goes this season is this in-season tournament that's happening. I'm really serious. I'm curious to see if the teams are going to be excited about it. They made a whole hoopla about it when they came through. I just want to know what's the driving force because I know like they're trying to take that idea from like soccer. They do this like in season tournament or like similar to like what NCAA does with certain teams with those in season tournaments beforehand to get ready for March Madness. I'm just really curious to see how this dynamic is going to develop on the NBA level. And I'm really just curious to see like, are the players going to get up for it? Are they going to be down for it? And I just want to know who thinks that they can take this cup and if it's really going to be a much more of an advantage for them later on. Is this going to be something that just like does it look like it's just a regular standard season type win for them? Or does it go ahead and like really turn into something where it propels you to take you to the next level? If that made sense. If I use wrestling terms for Cyrus, think about if you win the Intercontinental title, does this in-season tournament as the Intercontinental title propel you to be a world champion?
um, Honestly, I don't think it does. I think they did this. I think they did this to make sure that nobody tanks. Nobody's doing the tanking or the sitting of the players. I think that's really what it was meant to be, because they're talking about where you got to get what is it 65 games, right? Am I saying that right? 65 games.
In order to win an award this year, you have to play a minimum of 65 games.
Right. So I think they were trying to get them to do this so that way they don't do the resting thing. So now they can't say, oh well, XYZ couldn't play because he got an injured calf or strained calf or whatever it is, or pinky toe was hurt, whatever that thing is. You know what I mean? They're trying to find a way to make sure that they keep everybody playing, even on the dull nights when they're going to play. They're going to play the bottom feeder team in the East, aka the Washington Wizards. And they're going to win by 30, but they don't want to play him because they don't want to see Kawhi get hurt on like a play where he jumps up and somebody taps his elbow. They don't want. They just that's basically what it is. That's why I think it is. I think it's just, they're just trying to make sure they don't want to get anybody hurt, and they want them. They want to make the season something.
I feel you on that.
That's just my personal opinion, because I don't think that cup is really going to do anything other than once you get past the first couple of games, you realize you're not going to win it. Screw it.
Yeah, That's true.
I'm good without it. I don't love that we have this in-season tournament. I do feel it's pointless here. Whether you're trying to generate some excitement in the middle of a long-winded NBA season or trying to get players here to commit to playing, I think the players are going to be players, and ultimately they're going to decide, no, I'm not doing this and I don't want to. Hell, you see it in Kawhi. It may not be the best case sample because he's just a dude that does his own thing here.
Yeah, he walks to the own beat of his own drum.
But I'm not here for this in-season tournament. I can do without.
Well, think about it, Ronald. Right? If saying the in-season tournament, they say they got to play what they do, like they're trying to do, like the NCAA, where you got to play a pod, so it's like a pod thing, and you got to play these certain amount of people, and then get to a certain point, and then the 4 teams goes in Las Vegas, and then the one team plays the other team, and something other crap like that, right? So what happens when you get down to those final 4 teams? You expect everybody to still come back out and play? I don't think so. Like if somebody says, "Oh, well, you're not even close to being in the top 4," all right, fine. Then that means I can sit the guys for the next 3 pod games that I have. I don't need to worry about it.
And I really would hate to be on a team where we're looking to aspire to win here this in-season tournament and like make some big hoorah out of it. Also, I don't know, when you introduce more games into the season, that doesn't help the case with players not overdoing and players wanting to play here. Just
Well, yeah, and the funny part was they're not even introducing more games. They're morphing it into the 82 game season to try to make.
I think it's silly. That's just silly.
I hear you, but so I had 2 little suggestions. So like one other one that I'm super excited about. Honestly, I'm really excited to see our guy Wemby, see what he can really do. I want to see if he's going to be competitive, help the Spurs get better. I mean, he is going to be trained by literally 3 of the greatest Spurs ever. When you had Tony Parker mentoring, Manu mentoring, and Tim Duncan on the bench, like who better to mentor a big man than probably one of the greatest big men ever? So Wemby will be my other as honorable mention section, since you guys went with a team and I went with a different one. So, but yeah, so guys, our next one is our Eastern Conference preview. So I will have, so each of you, I'll let you lead off. One of you lead off with each conference, and then we'll piggyback to see what our lists look like. So I had you guys list your top 8 teams to make the playoffs this year for each conference. I took away the whole play-in because the play-in is the play-in, so don't worry about that. Just do the top 8. So because Ronald, you rep the guys from the East, Ronald, your list is up first.
Yeah, sure. So you want me to go from like bottom up, down, up, down?
Start from number 1 down.
All right, so I really went back and forth on this, and so at the last minute made my change. So maybe a bit of a homer pick, who knows? But Boston here at number 1. As much as they lost, they gained a lot in that. So we'll see how that all comes together. But some serious pieces in Porzingis. This one did take me a while here after getting over the initial sting, but just the versatility Porzingis is going to bring to this offense here. It's something that they didn't necessarily have, especially at the big man position with old man Horford doing his job. Robert Williams going to miss that dude, but was also a guy that defensively, as scary as he was, had trouble picking up his feet and staying in front, and that killed us. And so a guy like Porzingis here, better feet, better athleticism, better length overall. So I think all that's going to be a hitter. The pick and roll in Milwaukee, I think that's what everyone's talking about. Number 2 there, hell of a team. They lose some depth in the defense, but I mean, Dame and Giannis now with that pick and roll game, gotta love to see what kind of creative plays that come out of that to give the other guys some opportunity. Cleveland at number 3, just been good, steadily been getting better, and so for them, a big push. I want to see how well they can do, and I think this is a year that they really make a push here, especially with that. Once you get to the middle of the East there, it's a bit of a toss-up, honestly, because we actually go with 4, the Knicks, and right next to the Knicks, I have a note here, just y'all funny. That's what I think the Knicks. So we'll see how it plays out because y'all do well.
Thank you for getting him started, Ronald. Now we gotta hear this for the rest of the season.
And so we're gonna see.
We have video evidence that Merritt thinks the Knicks are going to be really good this season, and I almost fell off my fucking chair when he said that. I misunderstood. Go ahead, Ronald.
So I think the Knicks can put some good strings together because here's where number 5 I have Philly and I put them there right because I have no fucking clue what to do with Philly. As tumultuous as it is there, as good as Embiid is, I have no single clue how that season's gonna play out for them here. So that's one I'm looking to play out. Tobias Harris, poor guy, man. He just keeps getting just shitted on every season in and out, gets plays that maximum player money, but we all know he's not a max player. But that's not his fault. That's the market's fault. And so just not living up to those numbers there. And so he gets it from the fans on and off. And so in Philly, really, it's just no love. But no idea how that's going to look out. Number 6, I have Miami, and that's purely out of respect. I don't think they did anything to help themselves here in the offseason. They lost a couple of players, and so a grinded out team, never going to roll them out, which is why I have them at 6. But I, again, I mean, I guess it's not fraudulent when you keep making these strong runs here, but I'm just, you're not a team that's going to win in the finals. And I think that showed last year, as good as you played here and got in from the 8th seed. And so we'll leave it at that. Number 7, the Hawks, just because they have Trae Young. They're young. They're young, they're talented, but they're also just the Hawks and too young. I think the only addition they had was Wesley Matthews. And so defensively, sure, that adds something, but it doesn't move the needle for you. I think you're similar space than you were last season. And at number 8, just because here we're getting at the bottom of the barrel, I actually have the Nets here making some noise and sneaking into the last spot. And so possibly with the help of the play-in tournament, I'm imagining. But just some new energy. I really just want Ben Simmons to do well in his own right. And so looking good so far. Okay, we'll see how it goes once the season comes up and we have actual games and there's pressures on the line. But I think they're a team that can definitely just make some noise here and be disruptive. And so that's how I see the East playing out at this time from my point of view.
Beautiful, beautiful. Cyrus, your 8, or if you have any changes that you would make from Ronald's or such.
So I do have a little bit of different change. So Boston, Milwaukee is 1 and 2, but again, you can kind of flip flop those. To be totally honest, I mean, it just kind of.
I'd agree.
Yeah, you can kind of flip flop those, but let's just say, for argument's sake, 1 is Boston, 2 is Milwaukee. What I would say at 3 is a bit of a surprise. I'm going to say Philly at 3. The reason I say it is this: Harden has to play, and he has to play out in order for him to get to his next spot. I think he's going to play up to his potential to get him halfway through the season, up into that trade deadline. Then he's gone. But I think that's why I said 3, because I think they'll be up there at the 1 and 2, because he'll have to play up there. Then they'll just drop down to 3 because they'll lose a bunch of games towards the end with the new people, whatever it is. 4, I will go with the Knicks, only just out of default. I'll be honest with you, just out of default, because there's really that they have a cohesive unit. That team's been playing together. Tibbs has been there for a while. You just kind of got to give them the nod. 5, I think is a surprise. I think 5 Atlanta will be a surprise. I think they'll come and play. It's a new coach, new system. They'll come and play. 6 and 7 are just about interchangeable. I'm going to say it's either going to beat the Bulls or Miami, right at that 6 or 7 mark. But again, interchangeable. They're both going to play. They're both going to win their games, the games they're supposed to win. But with Miami losing what they did, not unless they come up with some trade during the middle of the season, I don't see it happening. The Bulls are probably going to be around 6 or 7. Again, the team is going to win the games they're supposed to win, but I think they still have deficiencies. Signing Vukovic to a bigger deal, I think, hurts them in the sense, because I think what they needed was a guy that they could put in the post that can score, and that could you give me 20 and 10 consistently without having to struggle. Unfortunately, he's not that guy. Again, if you put him next to that guy, I think that'd be great, but I don't think they have that guy yet. Um, and my eighth is a sleeper. I joked about it earlier, but I really do have a feeling that the Washington Wizards is going to make some sort of noise and get in there. Again, like you said, I think that play-in game is where they're going to miraculously, get in on that eighth, get in. But I think they'll be one of those teams that get blown out in the first round and just be like, they're just not there yet. Especially with Jordan Poole run the helm. Be different if he's off the ball, but him run the helm. I can see him going back to his, going back to his shell like he normally does it, like he did in the playoffs. So I can see that, knowing he's running the team.
I like it. I like it. I like it. So
That's only because your Knicks are fourth in both the bars, man.
I mean, I'll be honest. I am like falling off my chair.
It's only out of default.
You
do realize that. You do realize that. That's only out of default, right? That's only out of default.
And also, we're talking about like just regular season performance, and that's where we're leaving it at.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Ronald. Hey, Ronald, I just want to let you know right now, we're going to have to hear this for the rest of the season. You guys put them forward.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Honestly, I can't really believe that y'all even did that. But here, so
we didn't have a choice. Have you seen the choices that we have in the East? That
much to pick from. Kevin, I want to hear how you.
So
top 2 and 3.
It's so I have Milwaukee as number 1. I just from the first glance, Milwaukee now has 2 people that can, if necessary, put the team on their back and go. Dame has done it on his own in Portland. Giannis has been doing it for years in Milwaukee. I think it's a dynamic that, neither of them ever had to face before. Like, it could just be, hey, I'm all having an off night. Do your thing. I'm having a good night. Let me do my thing. So I put Milwaukee number 1. It's a slight number 1. So I go Boston number 2. I went Cleveland number 3. I think I like the dynamic of Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland. I like the talent they have there. They faced my Knicks last year, and
they're dogs, man. They're dogs up in Cleveland.
Yeah, they're a lot of people aren't really talking about them as much, but I think they can have the possibility of, if they can stay healthy, with everybody healthy. Remember the first part of the year they didn't have Rubio with them because he was hurt from the previous year before. So I think Cleveland has a chance to really take that next step.
Not just real quickly, just to say this right. The reason that I didn't put Cleveland in that top 8 was because I think this is the year that they have people have caught on to what they've done, and I think injuries are going to catch on because they did have a lot of injuries, but Donovan Mitchell is an injury-prone player. So is Garland, and so is a couple of other players. I think people have caught on, and it's just going to be one of those years. And they're going to have a tougher schedule this year because last year they had a really easy schedule. So this year they're going to have a tougher schedule.
Yeah. So just by looking at the roster as is, I mean, again, we don't know what this team is going to happen or what they're going to do with it, but I put Philly 4th and I put my Knicks 5th. Reason being is I know Joel Embiid has been a pain in the Knicks. He's been one of the key reasons the Knicks haven't been able to stop them if he's on a roll, dominating the paint. We don't have a guy that can stop him. So that's kind of the slight edge I gave over my New York Knicks, which breaks my heart. But, try to have an unbiased opinion here. So following my Knicks, I'm going Miami. Again, like Ronald mentioned, they didn't do much, but, you have a dog, a Jimmy Butler on your team. If you have somebody like that, you're going to fight like hell to do whatever you can. So I see Miami. And then this one, I have Cyrus's Chicago Bulls in 7 because I've always been a fan. I like Vucevic, and I've been a fan of DeMar DeRozan. I think their team just had just a bad string of losses last year. And I have for this last one between Brooklyn and a sleeper. They might still be a little bit too young. Might be a piece away. Indiana. They're young. They're very young. They got some veterans on their team that are solid players. But I don't know what Indiana has on their mind. Like, I could say that right now, but then in 3 months, Buddy Hield and Miles Turner might be gone. And that completely
I
erases
was getting
that.
yeah, I was getting ready to say that they're definitely gonna be sellers on the trade market. They're because they've been talking about trying to move Turner, Hield. What's they got two other guys. They got two other guys that don't start. They're talking about trying to get rid of two that plays major minutes with them because they want Halliburton. They want Halliburton and a bunch of the other younger guys to get more playing time. So they want to, yeah. So it's
Sorry. I need you to, like, if you have a chance, just Google the Pacers NBA roster on like NBA.com. And so Jalen Smith, number 25 here, his player picture is just
I'm
I
looking at it
don't
right
know.
now.
It's just something about it that
He looks very uncomfortable.
that's all. That's my interruption there.
It's all
yeah, you're
good.
fine.
All right, so there's our list. Eastern Conference there. Cyrus, sir.
Wait, hold up. Isn't former Knicks Obi Toppin? There he is.
Yes, Obi Toppin is there. I think this is a big year for him because he's been in the shadow of Julius Randle, and I think the problem with him in New York is that he's been stunted his growth with Randle playing more than him. And if he's going to explode, the Knicks might regret this trade in a couple of years. But the guy needs playing time, and he's going to get in Indiana. So I'm sad he's gone, but I'm excited to see what he's going to do in Indianapolis. But there's our Eastern Conference preview. Cyrus, you're going to lead us
Yes.
off with the Western Conference, sir.
So I don't think I want to put them in any particular order because I think especially this top four is just you can kind of plug them as you go.
Okay.
Warriors, Suns, Warriors, Suns. Trying to lost tab down here. Sorry, I wrote notes. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head without looking at a.
We got the Warriors up. We have Phoenix.
Yeah, I wrote it down, but I was trying to do it off the cuff without without looking. The Warriors, Suns, Denver.
Okay.
I think that there's going to be a surprise, and I think that the Clippers are going to be in there. But again, I think it's going to be one of those. I think it's going to be one of those things, just like I was talking about with Philly. They're going to make a trade somewhere during the middle of the season, so they'll be up there because they played these games with Kawhi and everybody else. But eventually, what's going to happen? They'll just drop back down again because they'll do that thing that they do and decide to sit everybody during this play-in tournament. They'll get rid of some people, they'll lose some people, and they'll be like top four, but then they'll wind up getting, losing to, some, the fifth seed. So that's my top four. I said I think Memphis is going to be 5. Sacramento is going to probably be 6 or 7. They've gotten better, but I think they're going to be 6 or 7. Just because they're still somewhat of a young team. I don't think Dallas is going to make the playoffs. I think Oklahoma City is going to be the 8th seed, and I believe New Orleans is going to be in the playoffs. I'm just not sure exactly where they fall in at. I know they're going to be in there someplace because I think Zion is going to be. I think Zion is on the mission to prove to people that he can play 82 games. That's just my opinion. I mean, I don't know if that's exactly going to happen, but I think that's what he's going to do.
So wait, I just want to make sure you got Golden State, Phoenix, Denver, Clippers, Memphis, Sacramento. Who was after your Sacramento?
New Orleans.
New Orleans, okay. And then
I said that in Oklahoma City is going to they're going to make the 8th seed.
Okay. Very interesting. Wow. All right, Ronald, what do you got, sir?
Very interesting. I like it, though. I like it. So, again, the magic of that play-in tournament just really throws things off with the 7th and 8th seed. But I think as much talk from the Kings last season. I'm sorry. I'm starting from the bottom here. I'm gonna just go from the top. Sorry, not putting not putting Sacramento. Just to be clear. So Phoenix, just pure offense. I don't think they're beating anybody on defense here, but really hard to beat someone when they're just making it rain on you from all over with that big three there. Denver. And so the Joker, man, like just a very special talent. I don't think they did much to really help their roster on all this off season, but just too good of a team all around there to put them down. Also, got to say, my company that I work for, their headquarters is in Denver, Colorado, and so a lot of Nuggets fans, in particular one guy, my man Cam here, who likes to run his mouth. And so as we're talking about the trades and the more recent one with Porzingis being fresh and Drew Holiday. First thing he says to me, "You still don't have our answer for Jokic." Like, I know, I know. We'll deal with that when we deal with that. And so that's just a bit of the talk here that I get from these Nuggets fans in general. Lakers very much surprised me last season with how they were able to piece everything together and finish strong here. So I think they'll finish strong at the top. I, again, don't think they'll make a playoff push here, and we'll see how old man LeBron holds up throughout the season. But I think for me, that's where it's kind of just starts to can kind of pick and choose, switch out some teams here. Clippers, I have them at I have them at 4 and I have them at 7. That needs to be changed there, but that's how I felt about them, and I think honestly it's because of the pieces. If they can actually play throughout the season and get that momentum, get that consistency here to actually compete. Because if that's the case, and with a couple of trades here to help improve some of that roster depth, especially with the bigs, I'd say more athletic ones, then that can really solidify them here in the middle of the West there. That's already pretty talented in general. But we'll see how that plays out here, especially if Kawhi just chooses not to play. Number 5, so this is where my faith in the Thunder start to show. Again, Chet returning. They added some veterans here to the roster. Oladipo's there, and another guy that I'm like blanking on his name here. So I think they're really gonna build on last season and make a strong push, and just at the very least make some noise here in the West there. And so that leaves me here at number 8. No, excuse me, at number 6, Warriors. And so another team where I don't really know what to expect from them as a whole here, but with Steph Curry and just that veteran leadership, they know what they need to do. But I think it's gonna be a matter of pacing themselves here, especially if they as they figure out what to do with their roster. And Clay, who I believe it's his last year in Golden State, is it not? And I don't know
Yeah,
if
he's free agent this year.
and I don't know if there's any conversations about bringing him back there. So who knows if a move gets made?
They said the talks are stalled. They were talking, but the talks are stalled.
Talks are stalled.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. I mean, the Dame Lillard talks were stalled for a while. The next
And then all of a sudden we woke up and then he's in Milwaukee.
It's like, good God. And so, no, we'll leave that alone for right now. So that's who I have at number 6. Number 7, actually, this is where I do think the play-in tournament helps Dallas out, and they'll get in there. And at number 8, the Kings, as scrappy as they are, again, just young, fighting, but I think they're too young and not be able to compete here with the bigger names in the Western Conference. And so the West was a little tougher for me to sort out here. So I was going through that.
Yes.
Yeah, the West is the West in the next couple of years will sort its way out because you'll see some of the older teams start to move on from other players. So you'll start to see
what's going to happen in Golden State? That's what one of the bigger questions that I have about long term here over these next few years is what does Golden State look like? Especially with their team here popping up. So yeah, the NBA, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's why I remember when the big 3 and players teaming up, people really thought Golden State, they'll take over Cleveland and that's all it's going to be. And basketball's no fun, but it changes like crazy real quick. And teams have learned to adapt and realize, no, we need to make some moves. We need to make some trades here in order to keep up and do something wild. So the NBA has been the offseason has been crazy these last.
Well, and they remember they changed that rule around. They put that rule around the CBAs. Right now, you can't you can't hold three max players on your team because that three max players that you get hit with tax. What was it? The luxury tax. There's another level tax if you get to that level. There's another level tax that you got to get hit with, and then there's like compensation you don't get there. It takes stuff away from you, so they got all kinds of crazy stuff going on.
Oh yeah, for sure. So my list is I have Denver up top, because I just feel like that Denver team is something special with who they got. I know they lost Bruce Brown on the defensive end, but I just feel like, you know, you find a young guy that's willing to defend, you can fill that role easily. And then pretty much I have the entire Pacific Division after. So you have Phoenix, Golden State, the Lakers, the Clippers, and Sacramento. I just feel like they are all so good last year that I just still feel like they can all still compete and they're just gonna just destroy each other. Like I like what the Lakers did on the little small, they're not major pieces, but like minute pieces that are gonna matter. The Clippers, we've been hear a lot of talk that they're gonna surprise some people, but they always, like Cyrus said earlier, like they will always end up somewhere in that top 4 or 5, and all of a sudden they just lose and collapse. And I expect the same. Sacramento, I'm a huge fan of the Sacramento team. The Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, the combo that you never thought you ever needed in life, but they are outstanding. And I think they're just going to keep getting better and better as a team. Then I followed my last two. This is really, really tough. Um, I think what's just gonna get them in is that grit and grind of Memphis. I have them in at number 7. And then there's always that one team that just surprised everybody. And I went with Ronald. I agreed with him. I'm excited. I think OKC can possibly pull it off with that 8th seed. The young guns of OKC, they are absolutely exciting to watch. And I think there will be. And, Shea was great last year, even though, he didn't have too much help. But with everybody coming back healthy, their sky's the limit. So that is my top for the West. So what I'm actually gonna do is, because I think we actually already answered this question. I was gonna ask about one team that you guys think is gonna be must watch television. I know I had Oklahoma City. Ronald, I think you mentioned Oklahoma City several times. Cyrus, you mentioned the Wizards, and I feel like you guys answered that question already. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the second portion. And we're going to talk about the NBA GM survey. Did you guys get a chance to take a look at that or
Yeah.
peek it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to list, there's different categories. We have players, all season moves, rookies, and international defense coaches and miscellaneous. So we start with Ronald first. Cyrus, give me a category, and I'm going to give you a question that we will discuss.
MVP.
That wasn't one of the categories I said.
You said the NBA GM survey.
No, I said so. The categories: players, off-season
I
moves.
got you. My fault. I was looking. I was thinking about it the other way. I'm sorry.
Okay, what do you got?
No, it's hold on.
What category?
I did. So I'm confused. You told me to look at the GM survey. I did.
Yeah. So they separate into separate categories, which was players, off-season moves, rookies and international, defense, coaches,
right.
and miscellaneous.
Well,
pick whatever I said. Pick one.
Okay, coaches.
All right, coaches. All right, we're gonna go down to the coaches.
That's not what he said, Ronald. Okay.
All right, so coaches, right now, who is the best coach in the NBA?
So is this like trivia?
No, this is just your thoughts.
Just your opinion about
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Go ahead, Cyrus. The best coach in the NBA right now.
I think the best coach in the NBA right now is still Steve Kerr. I think he's still finding a way to reinvent his team every single year. and he should take whatever you put in there and still make it work with the framework of what he's got.
Okay, I like that. What about you, Ronald?
So actually, I don't really appreciate saying this out loud, but I'll agree with the GMs and Eric Spoelstra being the best coach because you talk about reinventing, creating, and finding ways to make your pieces work here when you don't have a Steph Curry, when you don't have a like big name guy, and so all respects to Jimmy Butler there. But we know he's not KD on that level of pedigree, and so I just think this level of consistency and just those players how they relate to him, and then his defensive calling just always shines through. So I got to give him some credit with that. So definitely Eric.
I love that. I love that. All right, Ronald, you go ahead and one of the categories I said, what category would you like me to ask you?
All right, so then let's go with two. Let's go with defense.
Defense. Yes, sir. Here we go. As we scroll and scroll. Defense.
What?
Who is the most versatile defender in the NBA?
Who is answering this?
You are.
You are.
I am. Okay, I'm picking my
Yeah.
category, and then I'm answering that.
And then Cyrus answers it right after.
Hmm. 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 Man, I guess I feel like I should have just been a GM myself here, but I probably go with Giannis.
Okay.
And I think that's their top pick choice there. Versatile dude, I have to say, against the guards, not as light on his feet as he can be, but Giannis just hard to disagree with that. Like, the way he just stretches up and down the floor and gets from anywhere on each side whenever he wants, with the length that he has and the strength that he has, and yeah, just I'm gonna always go with big man there, Giannis.
Okay. Cyrus, what about you, sir?
Um, I mean, you can go with either one of these guys, but I think Draymond Green is still versatile. As old as he is, as long as the truth is, he is. He's still a great defender on the perimeter and in the post. And when they go to that depth lineup, he really does give them versatility at that five, where he's able to at least, I'm not going to say he stops them, but he puts them in position where they can't take advantage of him. So that's why I think he helps them out a lot, and they can run a lot of their stuff and still get what they want offensively and defensively, and still make plays.
I like that. I like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask you guys the where did I literally just went right past it. I'm gonna ask you guys the miscellaneous category.
Hmm.
Which team, and whoever wants to answer first, which team do you guys think is going to be the most fun to watch this season?
Yeah, go around. You can go around first. You can go first.
All right. I feel like you kind of like already addressed this, especially when you're like the most
I was
team
getting ready to say, I thought
watch
he was too.
for like MTV. So for me, the Thunder, I'm gonna be consistent with that. Unless you want me to come up with a different response, I'll give that to you. But outside of the electricity of the Thunder, I mean, truly that pick and roll game in Milwaukee is going to be a lot of fun to watch, and so that'll be second for me there. As much as I hate to admit that, but shoot, Dame and Giannis on the court, man, what does that look like? I want to know.
Hello, what about you, Sai?
You're gonna find this very funny. The Charlotte Hornets.
Really?
I do find that funny.
The reason I say this is because they're going to get a lot of up and down with all the young players that they got, and LaMelo playing the way he wants to play. It's going to be a lot of up and down. There's going to be a lot of like. Again, I'm not saying that they're going to win a lot, but it's just going to be fun to watch them get up and down the floor, up and down the floor, dunks here, late. I mean, listen, it's going to be like Mike D'Antoni offense, except it's going to actually make sense. Like they're just going to get up and down the floor. Listen, they're they are going to make a lot of noise. They're going to be in a lot of games. Are they going to win a lot of them? Probably not. But they'll be in a lot of games. They got guys that can shoot. They got guys that can score. They got guys that are really athletic. I mean, the kid from Alabama, Brandon Miller, he's just phenomenal scorer.
All that dunk he had the other day. Yeesh.
I'm just saying, and mind you, if Bridges is allowed to stay on that team for whatever reason after his stupidity, that guy is talented as hell, and he's just a matchup problem for a lot of people. So I could just, like I said, will they win a lot of games? Probably not. Will they be in a lot of games? Yes. Will it be exciting to see them run up and down the floor? Yeah, but they ain't gonna win a lot. It's just that's the way it's gonna work out. So
for me, I'll answer this question. I'm excited to see the second year of this Sacramento Kings team. I thought they were super exciting to watch last year. But so I just want to see their dynamic. Like I said, you guys know I'm a big fan of Domantas Sabonis just because his dad was Arvydas, and I love watching Arvydas Sabonis when he was playing. And De'Aaron Fox is that dude, finally winning. So I'm really happy that they're making something out of him, and they're making it happen in Sacramento. All right, we got a couple more categories.
Let me ask a question real quick before we move on.
Go ahead.
Do you think if Sacramento doesn't win this year, do you think they make moves by say next year by the trade deadline?
I would say, depending on how their season's going, like if they're trending like how they like, if they started, say they're trending the way they started last year, and then like they just don't have enough to win it, I think they would probably need to make a suggestion on seeing if they could add like a third person to pair with those two. Because I think, because with the they run that high powered offense from Mike Brown, running up and down. Malik Monk was putting up numbers for them where, like, shout out to him because I almost forgot about Malik Monk until they traded him to Sacramento. So I think it's just really going to depend on how they finish and how their record is going. But if they lose again next year, then probably they would have to determine to see if they can fit a third star there. But they're so young though. Like they have that rookie from last year, Keegan Murray, who I thought would have been rookie of the year last year, but he didn't. They got a lot of special young guys that it's just a lot of untapped potential that unless we just have to see what happens over time.
And if we're talking about fun teams here, I don't think we should sleep on the Trailblazers, even after they made a move away from Dame, because as much as they got in that, good God. And so I think that's going to be a scrappy team.
Yeah, that team's that's another team right there. It's going to be a lot of this, and it won't be the ball will go up. They'll be back because Chauncey doesn't like Chauncey just likes to let it fly. His offensive, he likes to let him fly and let him play, and so I can see that. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Cool. All right, we got I think one or two more categories of this survey. It's funny you mentioned Trailblazers, and they have an amazing rookie on their team in Scoot Henderson, who I think it was Ronald that answered first last time. So we'll go Cy. Which rookie will be the best player in 5 years?
Oof.
I know. That's exactly what I said when I asked this question.
Honestly, here's the deal. I would say I'm going to say the kid from Alabama. Because I think Scoot went away for 2 years to go and play to find himself. The kid Brandon Miller is coming in after playing a year, and he knows what his game is. He can only go higher than what it is now. I think he'll be a better player 5 years from now because I think he'll realize his potential and continue to go forward. I think the rest of the guys will do the same, but because the focal point is always on them, and they'll have games definitely just to watch Scoot Henderson play on the, you know what I mean? So what I'm saying, I guess, is that the Brandon Miller's games are not going to be televised nationwide, not on a consistent basis. He'll get a couple games on ESPN here and there, a couple games in TNT, the rookie game, but he won't get anything like, game of the week on Sunday, stuff like that. I could see him. I could see him being the better player out of the 5 years, just pure consistency and how his game is.
I like it. Ron, what do you think?
Scoot.
Yo, I'm with you on that. I Scoot is special. You know, if
Everyone keeps talking about Victor here. I'm like, Scoot though, dog.
Yeah, I mean, and that why I'm torn between Miller and Scoot is because Scoot is a pure player. You can see it. He's just a pure player. But
Mhm.
when you put him, I guess when you put him under pressure, what can he do? I don't. I just don't see. I just don't. The inconsistency is where I have a problem at.
Okay. Okay.
And Scoot just, man, he's just made out of stone, dog. Like real
Yeah.
talk, because you talk about like just the skill set and whatnot, but the intangibles and that guy, that he has a mindset. He's the one who, when he was 15, had the mindset of like a 20, 25-year-old, and so he's grown for his age. He plays like
Sure.
his all-around game. I think it's going to complement. It's what Trailblazers need, and I think that right there is just going to transcend and translate well over the years here.
Yeah, I agree. It's a guards game. So Scoot, I think, he's just gonna continue to be one of those great guards that we have in the NBA. And I would have to make sure I go find me a 00 jersey to wear because Scoot could be my Portland Trailblazer representative. But Ron, I'm gonna end this GM portion with you, and this is gonna be a tough one. Which player is most likely to have a breakout season in 2023-24?
Mm.
It's a good one.
It is a good one, and so actually might be a surprise pick here for me, but Paulo Banchero, out in Orlando.
Ooh.
And I just like, first of all, ain't no reason to look down on Orlando other than the young talent there, but Paulo there brings a lot of it, and so I think he's just a pure basketball player and just can play the game, and so especially with a young team there where they may not be getting a lot of attention and noise, may not be a lot of pressure, just let him play his game, and so I think he'll really show out there and will have the opportunity to do so, and I just love his game all around here, especially for his size there, so that would be my pick personally.
I
And
love
again,
it.
small market in Orlando, I think will allow him to just play his game.
Flourish. Cyrus, what about you, man?
I'm actually agreeing with Ronald here, and
Okay.
just to make it all fair, he is a Dookie, so I mean, um, just saying. Um, but yeah, again, it goes back to that same thing I was talking about with Brandon Miller. Like again, as you see, a small market team not being shown a lot on national television, can just go and do his thing. He doesn't have to worry about the pressure of being shown on a Thursday night on TNT, and he could just go play and just let his game flourish, and he could learn off of that. Like I said, with the young enough team it is, yeah, he's definitely, definitely there.
There you go. For me, there are two guys that stick out when we talk about breakout seasons. One of them had it when he was traded during the midseason. I'm going with Mikal Bridges from Brooklyn. I think he can have a breakout where he's going to show that he can be an all-star. Maybe I'm just being a sucker for, cheering on the local talent, but I really think, you know, when they made the playoffs last year and he was helping them put up a fight, wasn't enough, but now that he's gonna have a full season as probably the guy in Brooklyn, I'm excited to see what he can do, and I think he could possibly get himself into maybe an all-star bid. One other person that it's funny, I thought Cyrus, you would have mentioned this gentleman because you mentioned him earlier, Mr. Zion Williamson. He talked about that he wants to prove to to the haters out there that he's gonna come out this season and not be so freaky. But I think that he would be one to watch as well.
He will be. He will be. I again understanding that he is one of those guys that gets just injury prone. I don't know. Again, if he gets through 65 games, it'll be a blessing. I think he's a player. He puts me in mind of a player that plays about 65 to 70 games a season. You're either going to rest him or he's going to have a couple of sprained ankles, hamstring issues, whatever it may be. I think that's the way he's built because he just doesn't understand his body the way it is right now. He's going to have the Charles Barkley syndrome. He's just going to put on the weight and then he's going to have to learn how to lose the weight again and again and again.
I love it. I love it.
You got me with the freaky comment, Kevin.
All right. So we're gonna wrap it up because we've been going for a while, and I'm getting, Andrew Merritt, you asked for the content. We're giving you the content. So, Andrew,
honestly, this is not a two-parter. This is not because we started recording at almost 7:50, so this is not a two-parter.
Well, Andrew might want to make it a two-parter if he wants to, but hey, shout out to Andrew out here. But here, we talked about a lot nitty-gritty. End of it all, who wins the East? Who's coming out of the East, guys?
What do you expect me to say, Kevin?
All right, I will type in Celtics. All right, Cyrus.
You're
going with the Celtics too, aren't you?
No, I'm going to go with the Bucks.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Bucks. I think the team that they have now is just. I think it's a full team now. Now, if they could just put it all together, that's relevant to be seen. But I think that team is a full team.
Okay. For me, I am a believer of Dame Dollar and Giannis. I am also going with the Bucks for the East. Cyrus, at the end of it all, who's winning the West?
Denver's going back to the finals again.
Denver. Okay. Denver.
Denver. Yeah, Denver.
You're going Denver?
No one has an answer for the Joker.
No.
There's none.
No. And they've got what was it, 15 players on the team, right? Am I saying right? 15 players on the team, right? 15?
Yeah, well, 12 active and 3 guys on the
right.
bench.
So they got 8 of their 12 guys that they had on the team coming back. There's no I mean, not unless they broke that team up, there's no way in the world that team isn't at least going back to the finals.
Okay. All right. I do love Denver. I was trying to think if I could just be a dick and just say something ridiculous. I mean, it is half of it is my podcast. But just because Ronald's on here, I'm gonna go ahead and say the Lakers.
God, Kevin.
Jeez, come on, man.
The Lakers. Hey, LeBron is coming in 20th season. And, they brought some pieces, a little bit of luck. Anthony Davis just needs to make sure, he doesn't have glass ankles.
He's playing 50 games. You realize that. He's going to play 50 games. He's not even going to make it 65. He's going to play 50 games.
50 games, and then he'll have energy for the playoffs. Hey. But you know what? You guys are right. I mean, Denver is just really what it is. I don't need to, really stir the pot up here. The West goes through the West really goes through Denver. I just like to cause
this is another one of your Tim Tebow takes, dude.
Do not hate on Tebow. Hey, I wore his jersey.
Ronald, did you see that episode? Did you see that episode with that Tim Tebow take? Oh my God.
Ronald did see that episode of Tim Tebow take. Ronald, your thoughts on the Tim Tebow take?
Kevin, you're gonna stand alone on that one here yourself there. I'll just leave it at that for you.
Oh man.
Honestly, I love you, Kev. Kev, I really do love you. I just don't understand how you would. I mean, LeBron. As much as I love LeBron, and again, Merritt, I know you're gonna watch this. I'm sorry, I'm not saying that LeBron is the greatest thing since but there's no way in the world that man could carry that team and that load for 82 games without.
I know.
AD has to do something. Those guys that they got, they're great complementary players, but that team is built on him and AD. And if AD plays only 50 games, you're talking about them being at least in the 4th and below seed.
Yeah.
That's an uphill climb. And he has to do a lot of work just to get back to the conference finals.
I know.
And LeBron
It's
can
just
do it. LeBron can do it, but he does not need a grind at this point in his career. Not to go
no.
hard
Nope.
yourself.
I agree. I agree. That's my point. He can't grind. There's no need in him grinding,
Yeah.
and it's going to happen. And
Yeah.
I,
I hear you. I hear you. And with all that being said, so pretty much it looks like I have Denver Bucks, Cyrus has Denver Bucks, Ronald has Denver Celtics. Who's winning it all,
Defense,
guys?
defense, man. I think Milwaukee loses something on defense.
Okay. So what who are you saying is taking it all, Ron? You going your Celtics?
Oh God. Um,
Yeah, you know you want to. I
I know
feel
I
it.
want to,
I
but
feel
like,
it in your power.
if I gotta be that guy, if I gotta be that guy,
You are,
I
you're gonna be a
genuinely,
clip. You're gonna be a clip.
I've said it a couple times. There is no answer for the Joker, and I don't have one. So until there one comes to mind, I'm actually gonna go with Denver here for the repeat. Then,
Okay.
I don't want to say that, but as of now, as it stands now,
Okay. Cyrus.
I'm going to say the same. I mean, right now, until you can find an answer for between Porter, between Porter, the versatility of Porter scoring, uh, Murray's shooting, and just the way the offense is ran. Like they have a point guardless offense. As much as they see Murray brought, it's a point guardless offense. They don't have a true point guard. So there's no way for you to naturally finish. Then they got the kid Brown from that played last year that is a stud.
You think
They
Braun?
got Braun. They have like two or three other guys on the bench. They got rid of Bones Highland, which was as much as they needed him. It was good to get rid of him because you couldn't have two guys that couldn't play defense on the floor at the same time. So that clearly helped them out as an upgrade. I mean, they have a lot of they can morph into whatever you want. They can do a run. They can run up and down the floor. They can slow it down. They can methodically beat you, or they could just outshoot you. It's just that tough. So
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you guys make a lot of great points. Jokic is such a stud. He is like literally a joker. Like who can stop the Joker? It's out of control. He just dancing around Serbia, living life. He gets to go home. It's like he doesn't even care when he plays ball, which I think is hilarious. Um, I'm not gonna lie, like I really do love that combo of Dame and Giannis. I just again I don't know if is that gonna be enough? Are they gonna add somebody else to the pieces? Am I gonna go with Giannis and Dame like that? But I also look at it as like a lot of the times if you think about really good teams, 90% of the time they don't do it in that first season. So maybe they go to the conference championship, lose to this Denver team one year, and then maybe take it the next. Um, I think I'll probably have to go with that. I think it's going to be a 7-game series with those two. And I just think the experience that the Nuggets have gone through, laying waste through people, I think that's what probably would end up prevailing over Giannis and then a Dame who's new to the finals. But hey, I could be wrong. But for right now, I will go with Denver to take it all.
I will tell you this:
Go ahead,
if
Cyrus.
if Milwaukee, the one way Milwaukee could win is this. Now, if they can make a midseason trade to get them another bench scorer slash defender, they could make a push and probably win it all. But again, I don't know what you would have to give up to get that though. Because that's the only thing holding them back now. You got Chris Middleton, but again, we don't know what it would but I don't know if he's really coming back like 100% healthy or is he just there? I don't know. Um, you got Giannis and Dame Dollar there already. So again, you got three potential pieces. Right now, you're averaging, put those pieces together, averaging 115, 120 points easy. Defensively is where, like Ronald was saying, where do you get those stops at? So you still need to find when you had Grayson Allen and a couple of other guys, you can get those stops. You can hold teams under 100 or near 100. Now you just be the point of can you bring back another guy like that or a set of guys like that to fix that to rotate that back again for when you need to, especially during the playoffs, because everything in the playoffs slows down. Regular season, it really doesn't matter. Just kind of run up and down, do what you got to do. Postseason, everything slows down, so you need to be able to have those guys in order to solidify.
Those rotations tighten up too.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, again, if they could find a guy find a couple pieces like that towards the middle of the season, towards the trade deadline, I could see them winning that. I could see them winning.
Beautiful. Guys, that's all I had. Is there anything that I missed that you guys can think of, or you have any final statements?
Nah, I will say shout out to my wife. You might have to help me with this one, who's been 2 hours away with our 16-month-old, putting him to bed. I could hear in the background that it wasn't too easy, and so now it sounds quiet. So love her to death. I'm sure I'm going to hear about this tomorrow, but that's okay. Always worth it.
I got your back, Ronald. I got your back, man.
Appreciate it.
Cyrus, any last words or anything that I missed?
Please stop doing these damn Tim Tebow takes, please. Just stop. You need to stop. This is part of your podcast. Please stop. Just stop. Just stop. I know you're doing this quick, but please stop.
Oh my gosh. I love it. Well, guys, this is the first time that I'm in charge of actually doing the whole recording thing in a long time. Hopefully I did okay. But so it is outro time. So again, I want to thank Ronald and Cyrus for their time. You guys are amazing. Got nothing but love for you guys. Any socials do you want to share if the people want to follow you or find you?
I'm an old man on social media. He ain't gonna find me. If anything, I purposely keep my account down, so don't worry about me.
What about you, Cyrus?
I'm on Instagram. I totally forgot what that is. I'm on Instagram. If you look for Cyrus Johnson, I'm there. I'm on Twitter, CK Johnson. And that's about it.
Okay.
I'm going to be posting on Instagram anytime soon again. I've just been falling off. I need to get back on my grind as far as posting up some stuff. But
yeah, your weight loss, sir. I wanted to give you a shout out, man. You out here crushing it, yo. You doing
I am down to 191 pounds now from 210.
Yo,
man, congrats.
You a star. Yeah, I actually just recently hit the 220 mark when I started my gym. I was at pushing 240 in January, and I hit the 220 mark yesterday.
Congratulations, man.
I literally had I literally had to get on and get off the scale 3 times to make sure I wasn't freaking out. But yeah, so we're out here. We're trying. Shout out to my people at the Alpha Fit Club that are pushing me. I appreciate you. Yeah, so that's what it is. But now, guys, it is outro time. So first up, if you are watching this on the YouTube, make sure you give us a comment. Cyrus gives us so many comments. Please, we need more people to comment. Ronald, if you have a YouTube, give us some comments because I need more comments on the page. Or even a like. We'll take one of those. You can watch us at the Manly Musings Podcast YouTube page. If you don't have time to watch anything and you just want to listen to us, we are a snackable podcast that you can put on your lunch break. Go ahead and find us on all streaming platforms. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify. We are on Amazon Play. We are on Google Play. You can follow me at KQuavo624 on the Instagram. You can follow Merritt and him watching cows and singing country roads at weddings at his Instagram at Merritt_P. You can follow the podcast Instagram at the Manly Musings Pod. And just remember, y'all, take care, spike your hair. Good night.